Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am finally here to review and demo the spring/30th anniversary collection from Jane Iredale called the Bloom Collection or Ready to Bloom Collection, which is inspired by colors in Jane Iredale's garden. Very spring appropriate. I will go ahead and say I do not have all 5 pieces to the collection. The collection consists of 2 trio eyeshadow palettes, 2 powder blushes, and 1 lip and cheek stain. I do not have the lip and cheek stain. It is a very pretty peach color, but I only have the powder products today to show you. The eyeshadow trios come in Honeysuckle, which is a very pretty bronze, and Wildflower, which is a little bit more of a rosy toned trio. These retail for $36. I get all of my Jane Iredale products from Harbin House, where I do have a code that will get you 20% off. The blushes, the powder blushes, come in Flourish, which is a very pretty peach, and Velvet Petal, which is more of a rosy tone, and these retail for $32 full price. So what I did for this video is I split it into 2 days where I used 1 blush and 1 trio each day to make a look. So hopefully you will find it helpful. Let's go ahead and jump into day 1 and see the look that I create with this new Jane Iredale Ready to Bloom collection. The Wildflower trio is a little bit pinkier and more rosy cool toned than the other, with a little bit of peach thrown in. I'm going to swatch real quick for you. So it has a matte peach, a shimmer peachy pink, and then a matte dark brown. And I will say, as far as Jane Iredale shadows go, these are very nicely pigmented. They swatch very easily. They apply very easily. This matte peach right here, which I'll go ahead and talk about this as I use them, has been one of my very favorites to use all over the lid by itself with a little bit of smoked out brown liner, and that's it. All up into the crease. It's very fresh. It's very spring. I'm really into the lighter colors lately, but I'm going to use this. I'm going to start with this in the crease and see how we can build it up. Now, again, I have used this in the crease as I was using it on the lid as well, but I haven't used it yet solely as a crease shade. Now, there is a lot of kick up with these shadows, the matte ones especially. I don't mind that. I always like to make note of it, but it's never something that keeps me from using a formula, because all it takes is a tap and you don't have to deal with anything getting all over your face. So I'm just building this color up. It's not going to give a ton of dimension because it is such a light color. And if I feel like I need to go back and, put something else in at the end, I will. But right now we're just going to start with that. And then I'm going to take a flat brush. This is my reference number 2. And I'm going to go in with the middle shimmer shade and use that all over my lid. This looks different to me in the pan than it kind of translates on the eye. Not so different, but it's a little bit lighter once you use it on the eye. And I like the level of shimmer that it has. It's very subtle. It does catch the light, but it's not like metallic. It almost comes off satin with a tad bit of shimmer in it. It's actually a very, very pretty color on the eyes. Then I'm going to take a Refer 29 and use that dark brown matte shade just as a liner. If I wanted to go really smoky, I would use it on my outer corner, but this is a very dark shade, and to me it kind of defeats the whole like spring vibe that these palettes are for if I were to go in with it that dark, at least right now. I just want something a little bit lighter. So I personally could see that peach a little bit more before I put the lid color on. So all I'm going to do is take a tiny bit of the matte bronzer from Jane in Light, just a tiny bit, and sweep that more on the outer corner and up into the crease, just to give a little bit more dimension, not to cover up the peach altogether, but just to help contour the eye a little bit. And then I think I'm going to use that shimmer shade on my lower lash line. This is a 13 mini from Refer. And this is another example of how I don't think it's like metallic or anything like that. I usually would never put a metallic on my lower lash line, and this does not present itself as that at all. So it's going to work at this step. Okay, so I used the Jane Iredale mascara, and this is the final eye look. Still very, very spring appropriate. These colors are perfect for this time of year. Now I'm going to use Velvet Petal Blush. If you are new to my channel, you may not know, but the Jane Iredale blushes are my favorite formula of blushes. Sheer Honey is probably my favorite color of the entire collection. I love the Jane Iredale powder blushes. So this again is Velvet Petal. Corresponds really nicely with this particular palette, a rosy peachy shade. This is matte. There is no shimmer, sparkle, anything, sheen of any sort. And it applies just as flawlessly as all of the other Jane Iredale blushes. I don't know what I was thinking in not using this in my crease. This would be absolutely perfect to use with this eye look in the crease. The Jane blushes are some of my favorite formulas to use as a crease color as well, or as an eyeshadow in general. So that is Velvet Petal. Popped a little highlight on my cheeks and I am good to go with this look. Again, nothing bad to say. Really impressed again with the pigment and formula and ease of use of the eyeshadow palette. And I will likely never have anything negative to say about the Jane Iredale blushes. So let's hop on to the next day where I will be using the other blush and trio from this collection. Today we are going to be talking about the Honeysuckle Trio and Flourish Blush. These are the swatches for the Honeysuckle Trio. And this is what it looks like. So it is definitely more of the like bronzy gold option of the two. And this one, instead of having two mattes and a shimmer, has one matte and two shimmers. So I'm going to start out with that one matte, which is the middle shade, the lighter brown. And this is definitely a warm brown. There is no cool tones in any of these three shades. And I'm just using this in my crease. This one is definitely more of a typical crease color than the peach was yesterday, whereas it just shows up a little bit more because of the depth of the color. And then I'm going to take this darker brown sheen shade. I really hesitate to say shimmer with any of these because they really just don't put off a ton of shimmer. It's there, but it's just more of a sheen. And I'm going to put that all over the lid. So it's a little bit more of a smoky base than the lighter spring look that we did yesterday. And then I'm going to take this gold color, and I'm going to be quite honest with you. This gold color has given me a little bit of an issue. The first time I used it, it developed hard pan. So I had to pull out my spoolies that I use in my kit and take it and really try to get that upper crust layer off of it and then pick it up from there. And I'm just doing this as kind of a highlight shade in the middle. And even then, it doesn't provide a ton of pigment. The other two colors are definitely the more pigmented out of the three. And once I use kind of that upper layer that I took off, the hard pan is still there. I'm hoping you'll be able to see this. Do you see what I'm talking about? See, that's what I call hard pan, when it has that kind of crust that lays over the top and makes it kind of hard to pick up any product. The dark brown shade has not done that to me. So it just takes a little bit more work. And again, it's not a ton of payoff. It is giving a little bit of brightness into that, or onto that lid. And then again, because these are just not very shimmery, I'm gonna go in with this darker brown, really more of like a bronze shade, and use that underneath. So not too different than yesterday, except that it's a little bit of a darker look altogether, and I'm not using any kind of eyeliner. When I do darker shades on the lid like this, I sometimes skip the eyeliner because I don't feel like it's needed, and I don't want it to go too dark. Now let's talk about this blush. Oh, what a pretty orangey peach blush this is. This is in the shade Flourish, and just so you can see the difference between the two, when you put Velvet Petal up next to it, this definitely looks like it has more rose in it than Flourish, which is just a straight orangey peach blush. I'm only gonna apply Flourish today because we've already used Velvet Petal. This is a great shade if you have more fair skin. It's still shows up on my light to medium skin, but it is just a tad lighter. However, I will be quite honest in saying I love mixing these together. And by that, I don't mean putting a brush in one and then the other and then applying. I mean applying this first and using this a little bit higher up on the cheek on top of this. I think it's a beautiful effect, even though they are great by themselves. It's very, very pretty when you combine them together. Added a little bit of highlight, and that is the finished look using Honeysuckle and Flourish. Hopefully this video is helpful, showing you how to use the powder products in this 30th anniversary Bloom collection. I will say the blushes are 100% a recommendation. I do like the trios, but if I were gonna pick between the two, I would pick Wildflower, which I used on the first day, only because I feel like the pigmentation is a little bit better in that one. And for the season, it's very pretty. I like both of them. I'm glad I have both of them. But again, it's just my favorite of the two. So I will have them listed and linked per usual down in the description box with my discount code for Harbin House. Let me know if you plan on picking anything up from this collection. Thank y'all so much for watching. Be sure and like and subscribe before you leave so you don't miss out on any future videos. And I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day.